Althea Hall-White is an entrepreneur, an educator, and an activist. And now she wants to represent North Charleston's District 5 on North Charleston City Council this fall. I speak exclusively with Althea for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Althea Hall-White.
Yes.
It's so good to meet you.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
I appreciate it greatly. And thank you for coming on Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. I reached out to you on Sunday because obviously you are an advocate, a servant leader, retired educator, entrepreneur, school administrator, and born and reared and live in North Charleston City Council's District 5.
Yes.
Tell me, why are you running for North Charleston City Council now?
I'm running for North Charleston City Council now because I see a need. And the needs I'm seeing right now are quite apparent. It's as if there are people living in the community who really have no knowledge of who represents them. I've noticed that there are a lot of city services that should be available to all neighborhoods, to all communities, that are just not getting to them. And my primary focus is to be able to generate the next, or mentor the next generation of city leaders, as well as to provide information to the neighborhoods of District 5 so that they might be able to maintain their communities, bring their communities back from almost an abyss with what we know as gentrification. And a lot of people think that, or their thoughts are on this elevated lift of gentrification being running down neighborhoods. But what's happening is, if you're not aware of the city services that you rightfully deserve, and if you don't ask for those city services, and if you don't put demands or place at least an emphasis on having those services performed in your communities by way of your neighborhood leadership, your community leaders, then it puts us in a place whereas everything remains the same. I've lived in other parts of the country, and living in other parts of the country, I've seen where city leaders and elected officials are being required, let's say, to be responsive to the needs of their community, because their communities actually elect them. And then after taking a look at how our cities are structured, especially the city of North Charleston, I've come to realize that we are not participating in electing and being able to require accountability of our elected officials. And this concerns me.
I'm going to get to that in just a second. You talked about earlier about city services. What are those city services that are lacking in District 5 in your mind?
In my mind, we're not having trees trimmed. We're not seeing codes enforced. Okay? When I say codes enforced, I'm talking about trimming the trees, you have sidewalks. But if your sidewalks are not being trimmed, if the easements are not being kept, if the ditches are not being cleaned and maintained, then you're going to have some flooding. If the backfall ditches, which call on the other side, it's like a cul run where the road water runs to or runs away from, if they're not being cleaned and kept and maintained, then again, same problem. You have mosquitoes, you have gnats, you have all types of tiny infestations. Along with that, you take a look at the fact that, one of the main issues, and I'm going to throw this out there and I know somebody's going to pick it up, because I don't know, it's not an original idea, but it's kind of a little bit of professional borrowing that I did. In many cities, when a property is rented, the yard maintenance or manicuring of that property is incorporated in the lease. Thereby, the property owner is responsible for making sure that that particular piece of property is maintained or kept up. Grass is cut, hedges are trimmed, trees are trimmed. But what I've seen happen here is you rent a property, and usually the people who rent the property, they only collect the rents, and they are not specifically looking at the appearance of the neighborhood, because in all cases they've left that neighborhood. And it's like they moved away, left it for dead. But what I'm saying is we need to revitalize. When I say revitalize, I'm talking about bringing the neighborhoods back to a level of family, to a level of making sure that the kids are enjoying what their parents and foreparents created for them. We also have another concern when you look at from that perspective, and I'll get into that with something else. But when you look at the city of North Charleston overall, people left the city of Charleston, and they left Charleston. It was North Charleston then with Daniel Jenkins Projects.
Right.
And they moved into North Charleston. They moved into Accoby, Union Heights. As a matter of fact, I was a student school bus driver.
Right.
So I've driven Fillmore Street. Yeah, I'm a graduate of Barnes Wilson High School.
Right.
Band, marching band, and concert band. And you know, being able to not see those kinds of things still available and accessible to us causes me great concern. It's a whole myriad of making sure that the communities that are there, that have a legacy to share with those who are coming behind us, it needs to exist.
You talked earlier about, obviously, community leadership in District 5.
Uh-huh.
What does that leadership look like right now in your mind?
In my mind, you have people who are serving, who really have a heart for service, but they're not getting the kinds of information that they should be getting from their council representative. And in many cases, some of the people that I've talked to from some of the neighborhoods, they don't really know who they are. I think I've run into maybe one segment of the entire city of North Charleston that they know who represents them. But I would ask people to really take a look at the fact that if you've been living in an area for 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and nothing's changed, then it's time for a change.
You talked earlier also about codes being enforced.
Mm-hmm.
What type of codes are being enforced in District 5 that should be?
Looking at code enforcement, I'm beginning to realize and drive into the communities, and these are issues and concerns that I'm bringing up because it doesn't have to be that way. We can make a difference. We just have to be about the business of making that difference. I'm seeing halfway houses in communities. And a halfway house primarily are people who are not related, who are living there because of some, I would say, incident that may have occurred with the police, or some police action, or they may have been in prison or may have been incarcerated for a period of time, and now they live in a halfway house, but they just happen to be in our neighborhoods. I can specifically cite one neighborhood, which I won't at this point, but there are 3. I said not 1, not 2, but 3 halfway houses that should not be there. I can also cite for you a trailer placed in an R1 community under the pretense that it's going to be built in or restructured into a modular home. I don't think that can happen. It's an old Charleston County School District trailer that somebody bought and put on a lot. Now, granted, they own the lot, but the zoning for that area is R1, residential. How does that happen? It's not something to scream about. It's something to actually talk to city administration and talk to the powers that be that can provide answers.
As a matter of fact, when we talked earlier on Sunday about gentrification, you basically said, hey, if you're in an office, we need to hire a city manager and a city planner who have education in the areas of gentrification.
Well, on city planning, you see, here's what happens. Our kids come back. They don't come back. Okay? They graduate. They go off, they get degrees in city planning, city management, accounting, auditing, and they go elsewhere. And what I'm saying is, we need to get those kids back here. They need to come back and run this city. We need to upgrade, shall I say, the professionalism in our city structure. We need people who are knowledgeable about the community, people who are knowledgeable in areas of expertise that are not there now. We need people that can actually manage programmatically what it is that we do in the city of North Charleston.
What is it in the city of North Charleston that they're doing now that you still have questions about?
Okay, the city departments, they are, I'll tell you what, when you call them or you make your concern to them, they are very responsive, but they don't have enough people. And they don't, the people in the communities are not calling on those people that somehow got elected. I won't say they elected them, to say, hey, we need this to happen in our communities. So it doesn't happen. And I can cite an instance for you. I'm going back to Barnes Wilson now.
Okay.
When I was at Barnes Wilson, we had all the trades, of course, there at that time. And I took mechanical drawing. I just needed the credit, just something else to do, fill my time. And because I took mechanical drawing, whenever I decide to build something on a property or design something or, have to do renovate something, I do my own drafting. I don't have to go to an architect. I don't do it for anybody else. I just do it for me.
Right.
But my drawings are scale and they're acceptable by the city, so I can get my permits. This is what I'm talking about, too, also. And we'll get to education in a bit.
Sure.
But, going back to where we were, it's just a matter of making sure that we have the things that we need and that the right people are being contacted. When you consider the fact that, and I'm throwing this out there because it's all true, you can go to the city website,
Right.
You can pull down all the information, you can read it for yourselves, or you can go to the library, you can go to old newspapers or whatever. And when you consider the fact that you have a mayor that was elected with less than 7,000 votes out of 110,000, that concerns me. Because who's he responsible to? When you have a city council person that's elected with 577 votes out of 10,000, who is he responsible to? Or who is she responsible to? So in order to make people accountable, you have to say yeah or nay at the polls. You need to vote. You must vote. This is our time.
Who do you hold accountable now? Is it the mayor or the city council?
I hold everyone in the city of North Charleston accountable for what's going on. Because we have not taken a stand. And I'm not a flamethrower. Okay? I take action. If something's not right, I ask questions. If it's something I don't understand, I ask questions. And then I do my research. And I take a look at what the possibilities are. And then shoot for the possibilities. And unfortunately, we have been asleep for a while. We've been asleep for a long time. And this is no discredit to the people of North Charleston. It's that people have busy lives now. Okay, we all have busy lives. And fortunate for me, I'm retired. And for me, being on city council would be my full-time job. Not a part-time job. Not something that I just, do in my spare time. I will answer calls personally. I will be responsive to every chairperson of every community. On my flyers and my information I'm passing out. If you call me now, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. Where I see a need, I will contact you. If you need help, support, assistance, I'll do whatever I can to find the proper area or the proper, access to what you need. You look at the website, the City of Charleston, North Charleston's website, and older people, even if they are computer literate, once they try to access a website 2 or 3 times, and it keeps sending them elsewhere, and they're not really accurate as far as how they go about computing, they get frustrated and they quit. Everybody says, well, people don't vote because they don't know. It's not that they don't want to vote. It's like everything else that we do in our lives that keep us busy. We busy ourselves out to the point that, I know for myself, having been an educator, it's great. I was online too. I did my lessons online all night. As an administrator, I sent emails to my parents. I visited with parents. I made myself available. I had parents that would work unusual hours. And what I think we're failing overall is we're not meeting people where they are.
Where should the people be met at when it comes to the Charleston County School District and the city of North Charleston?
With the city of North Charleston, like I said, everybody does not use social media. Flyers, TV, radio announcements.
Right.
There's a meeting at City Hall tonight on yada, yada, yada. Put that blurb out there, let the people know. Now, see, my point is, once you put the information out there, there's no excuse. If you don't show up, it's not because we didn't tell you. But what happens is they'll put a blurb in the newspaper the day after the meeting. They'll put something out there in small print. And people are not looking for that. We need to make it important. And when I say make it important, put it out where they can see it. Know for a fact, this is what's going on. Now, I know I'm a little ahead of the game because I wanted to be organized. I wanted to have a platform. I wanted to have a program. I am programmatic. I wanted to make sure that I was trying to strike all the right buttons, making sure that everyone who needs to know knows, and know in a time where they would have time to actually be there, not just for me, but for their children, their grandchildren, make sure that they vote. And vote for policy. Vote for procedures, process. Vote for somebody who tells you what they're going to do. Not just because of anything other than that. Let's make sure that when we vote people in there are going to answer the phone when you call.
What is your policy or platform when it comes to education, particularly with the Charleston County School District? I know it's obviously a separate entity, but what do you think is the relationship between the city of North Charleston and Charleston County School District right now?
Well, when you look at, again, I go back to neighborhoods. Everybody rants and raves and screams about kids and the kids that are not being reared by their parents and all kinds of other things. But we've got to understand this. Okay. Again, we must meet parents where they are. And the scary part, I guess, for everything as it relates to this, is knowing that we are in a system that has been predisposed, sketched out, structurally put in to a segregated population. And the way that's done is, again, destroying neighborhoods. Better neighborhoods, better schools. Take those halfway houses out, move families in. Improve your neighborhoods, get better schools. We don't need people with money. We need families that love on each other, that want a house, that want a home, that want to live in a community, a sound, safe community. I can cite you examples of things that I've seen as I ride around the city. And I'll cite you one instance, maybe you can use it, maybe not. But there was a young lady standing, waiting to ride a bus, catch her bus, to go to school. And there was this one person that was lurking around. And I just happened to be sitting in the driveway because I went to pick my brother up to take him to an appointment. And he was walking up and down the street. And I sat down and watched him. What's going on here? And I picked my brother up and we left. And something said, nah, you need to go back. That something comes in your spirit, says, you got to go back. Something's wrong here. So I drove around the corner and came back. And this young lady moved from one corner to the next corner in front of the halfway house. Now, which was worse? Being over at a corner by herself with this person lurking, or being in front of the house, halfway house. Neither one of those was a good place, but at least she moved. I called 911. The police came. They came immediately. Services will come if you call them. But we need to have a continuous, ongoing community servicing by police. When I went back, called the police, they came. Guy ran, jumped in his car, and drove around the corner. He caught him at the end. Little girl, bus came along, got on the bus and went. We need to take a look at what's going on at bus stops. Who's out there with those kids? If parents can't be there, we need to make sure somebody is there. We talk about kids getting kidnapped, picked up. It's because lots of times it happens right there at that bus stop. Kids walk away, don't come to school. It happens at the bus stop. Kids decide they're going to go off and have a party. It happens at the bus stop. Come on, give me a break. Did it? Then you turn right around and take a look at the screaming and the yelling and the carrying on about, our kids. Our kids are beautiful. They're wonderful. I taught in all my years. I did very little discipline. And the reason I did very little discipline, didn't have to. I had a main line. My philosophy was, if you disrupt my class, I'm going to disrupt your mom at work. Plain and simple. And when I call your mom at work, I'm at work right now. I said, well, this is what's going on. Well, you can't call. Well, we need signed agreements on that, though. Okay, well, if your child disrupts my class, then I need to reach out to you. Because what happens is, kids act out. And when they act out the first time, teacher says nothing. They act out the second time, she's like, Third time, it's like, go over there, you're on timeout. Fourth time, I'm getting tired of it. Call the office. Fifth time, I'm mad. And when I get mad, okay, then that's when the problems start. Cause then I'm gonna call your mom, I'm gonna call the principal, I'm gonna call in the SRO, and they gonna come, they gonna take you out of my class, and I'm through with you, okay? And I'm gonna write you up for all. No, you can't write them up for what they did before. If you'd have written them up the first time, you wouldn't have had the problem now.
And I know just recently there's a headline out there that basically says Charleston County School District wants more SORs, school resource officers at school. Where are you with this discussion?
And that's what hurts us. I've seen it. I've seen SROs wrestle kids down, throw them in a better word for it. In a room. I won't say which room. That's what I was wondering. And throw them down, face down, arms behind their back, knee in the back. I've seen that. I've seen some of the worst brutality that you could possibly see. I'm not saying that all SROs are like that, but a police presence in school, that says it's not safe.
See, just quickly describe to me the following in one word: short-term housing.
Short-term housing. VRDO.
Affordable housing.
Putting people in homes that they can afford. And one of the things that I've been looking at, doing research on, there are agencies, there are nonprofits out there now that are actually going in and renovating homes and allowing families, not individuals, but qualifying families to move into those homes, and even their own Section 8, and the monies that they pay in their Section 8 rental, and the monies that are, that they receive for Section 8, all go toward their actual rent to purchase, which gives a new family a new lease on life and something good that they can do and make a contribution to the neighborhood by bringing their families in. Single family, fine. Multicultural, just bring a family. Let's show that we are family oriented. Let's bring this back.
Gentrification in one word.
And gentrification in one word is not being one word. Let's say, okay. People.
The North Charleston City budget.
Questionable.
The mayoral's race.
Question mark.
Okay. Okay. Althea Hall-White in one word.
Ready to work. Work ethics.
And you talked earlier about obviously taking action. What action would you take on day one if you were elected to city council?
On day one, I'd probably want to meet with everyone in every department. I'd follow whatever the esprit de corps is for first day on the job. But I want to meet with every department. I want to make sure that they understand just how involved I am with those communities in my neighborhood, and just how often, if possible, I may need to call on them. And if I do, I would be more than delighted to hear from them on any occasion as it relates to something that might be challenging in those neighborhoods that I would serve, as well as anything that they see that might help to improve the neighborhoods that I will be serving.
Althea Hall-White, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Anytime.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.